4 or 5, yeah.
Do one now and then do it for a couple months.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. A very special edition today. We are joined by the French Rock.
Yeah,
Mr.
thank you.
Mike Lemaire.
Thanks for having me, guys.
A two-time Muay Thai world champion, making his 10th glory start. His professional record, 19 wins with 5 losses, 8 of those wins by knockout. Mike Lemaire!
Charlie's gonna try the raw liver tomorrow.
On account of I got to film more week, don't know if it's best for the health.
You go ahead with that.
Let's see some liver.
Yeah.
What animal?
This is calf. I mean, this is grass-fed beef. Are you ready for the liver?
No, but you know what? I got the French Rock here, and I'm not going to back out in front of him.
I think I'll pass on the liver. Who wins? Me. No.
Hey, make sure you chew it at least 20 times first.
Well,
That's straight.
Chew it.
Well, maybe I'll go last this time since I took the shot first.
Right now, guys, you can't see Mitch on the other side of the camera. He's trying to back out. It ain't gonna happen.
I'll hold the camera on you after, once we all done.
We'll see.
We might have to actually hold you.
Swallow it.
We had this discussion last night. No matter what I like to do every morning is I like to get partially frozen liver, mince it, put it on a heaping tablespoon. So this is only a portion of what I normally do. And then what I'll do is I'll have some raw kefir or raw milk. And then I'll have some fruit, whether it's dates, bananas and blueberries, whatever it is. And then what I'll do is, or a tablespoon or half a teaspoon of raw honey. So it's just like a shot. I take a deep breath, I swallow the liver. While I'm still holding my breath, I guzzle down some kefir. Yeah, me too. And then I'll go right for the fruit or piece of cheese.
So raw liver into the sour milk.
To the
Completely
kefir.
better Friday.
And then grab some fruit. And then you won't taste the liver at
Do you
all.
feel a difference when you eat this daily? Like your energy
feel
level?
tremendous
Yeah,
energy.
I do feel it too. Have you done blood work to actually like quantify like your
Have
red
you?
blood cells? No, not yet. But because I haven't been consistent with eating it, so I want to make sure I can eat it maybe for a month. Then do one now and then do it for a couple months and then actually do blood work maybe 3 months
I just know
later.
that since I switched to it, tremendous amounts of energy. I've lost 17 pounds in 2 months.
And you attribute this only to this?
I might lose 3 after eating a spoonful.
Part of it. And then switching the diet, got away from eating vegetables. Now I eat fruit.
Animal.
And animals and fruit.
Yeah, fruits.
And grass-fed,
Are you purely
non-GMO.
on some kind of carnivore diet?
Yeah, the one that Paul
The only
Saladino.
thing about this diet socially, what do you do at the restaurant? Like, lots of animal fats. And
A lot of animal
I love
fats.
meat. I love.
I cook with raw butter. I haven't tried beef tallow yet, but I will.
I have, yeah. I've ordered some.
Oh my God, look at that milk.
Well, I also do my home.
Like this should be a one person at a time thing on
No! What?
This way.
Ready?
No, we can't do it. We gotta do it all at the same time.
First.
Oh my God.
How do you
Wait, the three of us could do it
how do you
together.
throw it back? Because I don't want to like.
You just swallow it like a pill. Swallow it like
All
a pill.
right,
Just
one.
like a piece of steak.
Okay, one. Why are you taking the milk first?
Do it afterwards. 1, 2,
Take the chase.
Oh fuck.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, well,
Hold on, give him 10 seconds. Stay on it.
Don't get.
how do you swallow it?
Liver King, I'm coming for you.
What the fuck?
All right,
Damn.
wait a second. Who wants to help me out with this one? Who wants to help me
It
out?
wasn't the taste.
I want to
it was,
gag
like,
before.
the thickness of it.
No, that was the taste.
I'll
Like, I
never
didn't taste
ever
anything.
eat that milk again.
I'm not brave enough to smell.
Look at Rockshot's.
Yeah, don't smell it.
What's that? We got the big one.
All right, cheers.
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 Ready?
Yep. 1, 2, 3.
The champions are made of.
Just a Friday with the boys.
It's not that bad because it's nice and cold.
Yeah.
You know?
You tasted
Wait.
Oh.
I'll taste it. You
didn't
taste
I
it?
do taste
It was just, thick in the throat, but it's fine.
Yeah, it was just like the.
I can feel it.
I taste like I feel like
I did taste
Thinking
it.
of throat.
I didn't
Okay.
do
Not bad, right?
All right, guys. And that will do it from right here at the Wellness Institute.
Whoa, wait.
Oh.
Take a look.
Oh, Mitch,
Oh.
you hand that thing over.
Somebody's.
Love it.
This one looks thick. Yeah. Take a deep breath.
Slaps it on the table.
Take a deep breath. That does nothing for you. Take a deep breath.
You got this, Mitch.
Your guys first diced up. That one's look. I even cut. Come on. No way. No way.
Crying out loud.
He left it on his tongue too.
It did.
You
It
have to go
parked.
straight
He
to the
parked it.
throat.
First of all,
You parked on the tongue, bro.
You shouldn't put it on your tongue.
Right.
I thought it was gonna like slide off the
Like,
spoon.
you have to like.
Cause your guys was all cut up. Nah, I ain't doing that.
Alane, CEO of MagnaWave.
And Aura Wellness. You keep
And Aura Wellness.
leaving that one out. But, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. You'll do better later.
Hey, for Wellness, all right? Henry, we're in your house now.
Yes.
We're at the Wellness Institute right here in La Jolla. Thank you for having us, man.
Pleasure.
It's been
Great having everybody here.
It's cool to be here. So how did you two meet?
Through a common friend. I go to this gym called Victory MMA, and Rudy, we have a trainer there. He's kind of the physical therapist guy that you go to, right?
Yes.
And, so they know each other, and then he sent me to Henry because I had an elbow injury. So I've been coming here for the last few months now.
What was the deal
That's
with
right.
the elbow? Just mobility or?
Yeah, all of it, man. I had bone spurs, removal. I had a surgery for this. Just trauma from fighting, training, all the kicks, that repetition. So I have calcification around the tendons in my elbow and arthritis. So the cartilage is pretty much gone in my elbow. So there's not a lot of cushion, right? Protection. So there's always a fluid kind of like building up to protect it. So I just gotta come here, and it's part of my recovery regimen now. Try to come here as much as I can, and seeing Henry take care of me. Yeah, honestly, it's like one of the only thing I've tried in the last couple of years that really, really worked. And I've done PRP and stem cells and all that. So this is obviously a lot more convenient and cheaper and accessible for everybody, for all athletes or anybody really. It's pain-free. I mean, you got to have a little pain.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
And I'd say like 4 or 5, yeah.
Good. That's where we want to be.
Oh!
4 or 5.
Is my arm going to move after this? That's it. That's like a 6, 7 we're talking.
Now how do you feel? Go ahead, Patricia.
It feels, now you always have a click, and there's no click right now.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That is crazy. Every time I go like this, or if I'm lifting weights and stuff, click, click, click. Bench press, click, click, click. And it's always right there where I'm feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there's not a click to be had. It's like I got a TV and no remote.
Right?
No, guys, no bullshit. Really. That feels incredible. That is incredible. I highly, highly suggest you try that. Thank you. Damn. We all just tried what?
You all just had
NAD.
sub-Q injections.
Our
That is
energy
correct.
right
So
now.
is that why you guys are all like a little?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we all feel great
We're
right now.
flying.
like on a cloud.
And that's one of the services we offer
Yeah.
here at the Wellness Institute.
I've tried the nasal spray.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
we were
I
just
love
talking
the
about that
nasal
as
spray.
well.
Yes.
That's probably our biggest seller right now. Just because it's very convenient. You still get a good dosage of it.
Tell them what it is first, so the folks watching.
Yeah,
at
sure.
home. And what is NAD?
NAD is a natural coenzyme that exists in every living cell in our body. And as we age, for example, as we get to the age of 40, our levels internally deplete by about 50% compared to when we're 20 or so. So what happens? We start aging, we get brain fog, we start losing energy, our cellular function depletes, and so we start supplementing it, whether it's the sub-Q, which we did earlier, IV, which is very popular, and then the nasal sprays, which is our most popular.
And you can also do it in the pill form, but it's just not as, it doesn't absorb as well.
That is correct,
Interesting
yeah.
when you were saying that earlier. Alane was saying how if you take it in pill form, your gut and all the acids in your stomach actually break it down. I've heard that about vitamins, supplements, things like
Well,
that.
I mean, a lot of vitamins, they can't prove that it actually, like, they can't prove the efficacy of a lot of vitamins. That's why you always see, like, this has not been approved by the FDA. There are some vitamin companies who have done studies, but, like, the body's absorption is, like, everybody's body is different in what you're going to absorb. But it's not bad to take supplements. They work, right? I mean, you should be taking vitamins, and you should be making sure you have a healthy diet, but at the same time, how you absorb something through your stomach and how he does, and everybody's different. So, you know, a lot of times.
That's why we eat raw liver.
Yes.
The liver.
Are you a raw liver guy too?
I mean,
It's a thing, apparently.
I buy the supplement actually because
okay.
I hate liver, and I'm French, and then liver is one of the dishes that my mom used to cook all the time. But I just dice it in cubes, and then I put some maple syrup a little bit, and then just pinch my nose and go.
So if you guys, if this is the first episode from San Diego that you've seen, Henry takes raw liver every morning, actual raw liver, but he takes it like a pill, like a spoonful of it, I believe.
This is why he looks the way he
how
looks.
Yeah.
Henry,
We're all going to try it.
55.
Today, he brought some for us to all try today.
So I
Yes,
heard.
we all will do some. I have some raw cheese, some raw kefir,
The cheese is delicious.
and some dates.
So a glass of wine then.
Well, I have
this
tequila.
is exactly
here,
what I said. This
We're
is
in.
You know, it's,
exactly what I said.
and it's
San
Friday,
Diego
so,
wine.
and it's
Raw
it's
wine.
Friday, so
Raw
we're good.
This wine is
Just
also
gives
raw.
us grapes.
It's delicious. It's raw wine.
So what has been the biggest impact since you've been coming here to the Wellness Institute that you felt on your body?
you know, the inflammation has gone down tremendously, and that was really the first thing. I came to Henry, and I was coming back from a trip in Japan, and the altitude with the elevation on the plane really made it worse. And I got to Japan, and I had to go see a doctor at the hospital and get it drained and get antibiotics.
Did you have a fight in Japan?
No, I didn't have a fight. I just went on vacation this time, and I came back, and I was still really inflamed from it. And one session, and the inflammation went really down. You know, naturally, I kept coming.
Have you guys heard that about altitude affecting injuries?
Actually, so especially in Colorado, people will have altitude sickness where they'll, and we've actually used the MagnaWave or the Aura Wellness machines and taken those, and people have actually gotten better. So I had a guy who had lived and traveled to, very high elevations for years and years, and then one year he was getting older, and it just made him so sick he couldn't go to his home anymore in Colorado, and so he had a machine in Florida. He actually brought it up there and started doing regular sessions with the PMF, and it was amazing. He was like, I will never, now I need another one because I want to keep one here and one there. So yes, I mean, altitude is a big problem.
I'm not sure if that exists, but the PMF, maybe mats on the plane would be a good idea.
That's a great idea.
You know, because of that Bluetooth
Phenomenal
and all that
idea.
stuff. And then I've always noticed every time I have an injury or my leg will be tight and I get on the plane, and I'm 6'2" also, and you know, if you're not in first class,
Right.
and your knees all swollen, and you know, you don't feel good after you fly. You either get sick. My mom got really, really sick with pneumonia, just flying from Florida. You know, for older people, it sucks. So I don't know. Maybe that's it.
Sitting in that position for a long time,
Right.
your low back, I'm sure.
Well, we
will
have a lot
start.
of truckers who will buy machines and then use it in, like, they'll put it in their truck and then they plug it in. We have like an adapter that plugs into the like lighter, and so it'll power the machine.
While
and then
they're driving, they're using it?
yeah, well,
Oh, yeah.
because it helps them stay awake, and it also helps with their back problems because it's you're sitting, but
laboring
it's
job.
a really hard job on your body. So yeah.
100%.
So when you first got in, earlier when we were talking to Lieben about, UFC, this and that, it's like a fighter goes into a fight and you know you're going to take damage somewhere. What is that like, going in and processing that? And then how do you kind of break down the way your body's feeling? Like, how many days does it take you to step back after a fight and be like, okay, this isn't right. This isn't just fatigue from the fight. Something's up here.
Yeah, well, first of all, you never really go into a fight 100% physically as a fighter. So you already know what's going on with your body. As far as like the pain during the fight, you don't really feel anything with the adrenaline and the mentality, the mindset that you have, right? But the next day is really when that's honestly even an hour or two. I mean, most of my fights, I ended up at the hospital. No matter what, I do a CT scan or something is broken. I broke my foot many times, or my nose and stuff like that. So you end up going to the hospital, and the next day, that's really when all the swelling is at its worst, and you're feeling a lot. So moving forward for me, I'm trying to go back to competing. it'll be great to have, that kind of technology around, post-fighting right away, jump on it right away. So
When you were younger, did you take care of your body? This is something we talked about earlier as well. When you were younger, did you take care of your body the way that you wish you would have?
100%. I was the opposite. I mean, in my early 20s, you didn't warm up.
Yeah.
You just trained for 2-3 hours for like a savage, and then you just didn't even stretch and went home. But also, I think, social media and all the access on the internet, I've made it, fitness is more trendy now, and taking care of your body, and just, the information is out there. Sometimes it's wrong, but most people at 20 years old now know how to warm up, know how to stretch, meditation, breathing, all that aspect of the game that I teach to my student because they have access to it now. So to answer your question, definitely not.
Yeah.
No, I wish I did, because now I'm paying off from it.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of young people, even though the information's out there, they're like, well, I'm
Right, you don't need
great,
it.
I feel fantastic today.
Right.
And then they, I think it's good for them to hear that, even if you feel that way, if you're not taking care of yourself now, you're going to always, 100% of the time, you're going to regret it as you get older.
Right. It has to be part of a routine. You know, you just got to be part of your training recovery. I teach my amateur fighters to take recovery just as important as actually the training. Just be at your best when you show up to training so you can perform your best. And then as soon as you're done, we start recovering.
Because you can fight longer, right?
Exactly. Longer, and then you perform better. You feel better. Your nervous system has a better chance to really calm down and recover for the next session.
It does feel like pro sports in general now, we have been elevating. That's a good point you make about the social media, because everything we were talking about earlier about eating the raw liver, this and that, it's coming from information we're finding online.
Of course.
And it is cool it's all right there in front of
Exactly.
us. So have you noticed that athletes seem more now way tuned in to the physical side of their bodies than just the performance, no matter what sport it is?
100%. I mean, you look at a lot of the pro football players now, same thing. They're looking at every advantage possible, whether it's diet, a certain movement, anything like that, right?
Yeah, it's that big teams like the Real Madrid, like Ronaldo, they have a sleeping coach. They hire a guy that teach the athletes when they travel, they get off the plane, they get off the bus, as soon as they get to the hotel or wherever they're staying, they have their own little pre-made bed, with a bunch of technology around, so that way they can maybe get a cycle or two of sleep right away, and then they go to practice, and then another couple cycles. A cycle, a full night of sleep should be 8 hours. That's about 5 cycles, I believe, 5 or 6. But sometimes when you travel, you don't have the time. So, it goes as far as that for recovery now, understanding that we do need the sleep and we do need all those things as well. Yeah.
Especially with you, that had to be interesting because you had a lot of international fights.
Yeah.
Traveling.
Yeah.
So is it different? And also, that's what I wanted to ask. When fights get sanctioned in different cities, right? Fighters sometimes say it's different, like the whole operation was run different in Vegas from New York.
Yeah.
How's that international? Like, you ever fought in a country and you're like, what? This is the process over here?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me when I travel, one is get adapted to, of course, the time change, but it's also the food. Where do you shop for your own food? Do you want to eat the food at the hotel or there? The ingredients might be different. Like when you travel to Europe compared to the U.S., it's very different. And so that's something to consider. If you try to cut weight, like do you have access to a sauna? Do you have access to a gym? So you kind of have to, what's the word in English? All the logistic that you have to kind of pregame before you travel, and really setting that up before you even, fly there.
Right. Alane, I don't know if you can say specifically what teams and this and that, but just kind of going back to the athletes' mentality now in their bodies, it's been really cool. We know MagnaWave and AuraWell.
There you go.
Right? We know how the first impact was made in the equestrian world.
Yeah.
Now, there is a laundry list, folks, of pro sports teams from the NFL to the MLB, all across pro sports that are using the products.
Right.
And, it's really the teams reaching out to you, as you're
100%.
telling me. So how cool has that been to see? And then I don't know if you can speak on how that kind of happened.
Well, okay, so MagnaWave as a whole, we started doing humans and animals, and then we decided to go after FDA registration and clearance on our devices so that we could maybe get into more medical doctors off, like a regular, internist doctor that you would go see. The problem is that a lot of this therapy and a lot of other therapies, they are more on the fringe. They're in other places. They're not really available to the everyday, like, person that's walking down the street. They're not going to see this if they're not an athlete, if they're not working out. And so our goal was like, okay, let's bring this to the people who just have shoulder pain, back pain. So we decided to just go that route. So we had to, in the United States, we had to separate the companies out. So we started Aura Wellness. It took about 5 years, 4.5, 5 years to get our FDA clearance and our FDA registration. And then with MagnaWave, though, it really, over the last 15 years, since I've been running the company, it's really just been word of mouth in the human industry. Because when we made that switch about 6 years ago, we separated out the companies. People, I mean, we still had Major League Baseball teams and NFL teams calling us, because once you have one team on board and they're actively seeing results and they're bringing machines even on the sidelines for games, treating or doing sessions right during halftime, other teams are like, what's that? What are they doing over there? And then the trainers are really close. Like in Major League Baseball, especially, like the trainers, like they and they all work together. They are
It's own fraternity.
Yeah, and they all work together. And so when one of them starts using it, or they go to a new team, then they bring it in, and then the players end up buying machines, and then they take it to another team, and they have their machine, and they're in the locker room. They're like, "What's that?" And then all the players are using it, and then that team. Literally, and you talk about soccer teams in Europe. Like I had one player, a female player, go and travel. Got traded to Europe from our local team, our professional women's soccer team in Louisville. And then she went over there. She had a machine, and it was maybe I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna give it 8 months." Maybe it was 8 weeks later, and I was getting calls from the men and women's team that she was with, because she was like talking about it and using it. So it's all big. Now we're in tennis and PGA. So they're buying MagnaWave machines, because while you're going through the FDA process, you cannot sell anything. So it's been, since we got our FDA registration and now with our FDA clearance, we are able to sell the AuraWell machines to doctors' offices. We're working on billing and getting billing codes. So it has slowly been just a progression as a business and as a company. But it's all word of mouth, because you're going to believe me if we're friends. And I'm like, my shoulder's been frozen. My shoulder's been frozen for years. All of a sudden I get this session, I come to you and you're like, whoa, you look good today. You feel great. What's going on? And I say, oh my gosh, you have to try this. You're going to believe that over any commercial I can pay for. Absolutely. So that's been, that's how it all happens.
You were saying how yesterday it transitioned into the football world, because one of the team owners had a horse. And then had horses and was using the product, and then said, I want to use
my other stable. And it was a whole entire professional football team. And so, so then that was our first, into pro sports. And then since then, it's been,
that's wild.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It is. It is exciting.
What amazes you most about this man right here? I mean, we were all watching. Yeah, we've been watching your highlights and everything all week, man.
Just his resiliency, refuses to quit. Yeah. He's been told by physicians to hang it up. Yeah, and
but
I love that. I love
what we say about doctors, though. They don't know.
Guy's got a good nose, though. I'll tell you what. Nobody would think you ever broke your nose.
It's a little crooked, but not much.
You're doing all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
His work ethic, I follow, very similar. Not that extreme, but.
So when's your next fight? When's his next fight?
Yeah.
No, so I've been out of the game for almost 3 years now, 3.5. Obviously the pandemic, the virus happened, so the world was shut down. And my contract with Glory Kickboxing, which is the top kickboxing promotion in the world, expired. Then I lost a very good endorsement with Monster Energy, which, brought me some money. And after that, I was still training. I was still training every day and just waiting for my time. And then my elbow really got hurt. But kind of out of nowhere, just one night, it just blew up on me. And I thought it was just, something casual. And
after training or just laying there?
Yeah, I training all day. I was swimming in the morning, and then I had a training session and lifted some weights. I went home. Everything was fine. And then during the night, I just woke up in terrible pain. My elbow was so swollen, it was huge. And ever since, it's been a struggle. But ever since I came back from my trip and I've seen Henry, things are looking up. And so I'm back into training, and I'm looking at competing again at the end of the year or early next year.
Are you going to re-up with Glory?
Nah, I think I'm going to move on to one championship, which which they are also coming to the U.S. They're based in Asia mostly. They're huge also.
Yeah,
They're
I've seen that on stream.
They're gonna be the direct competitor with the UFC basically, but they also do kickboxing and Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. So they don't just solely focus on mixed martial arts. They do it all, which I think is very cool.
That's great.
Nice.
Yesterday somebody told us San Diego is a warrior city. From the military to all the fight training camps and stuff, this is a warrior city. Yeah. When did you make San Diego home and why?
So I used to live in Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
And I competed over there, and then I had one of my brothers move from the East Coast to San Diego at the time to go to school, and I was like, you know what, I miss my brother. I haven't been with him in years, so I'm gonna move out there, and it is a mecca of fighting. I mean, even back then when I moved out here, it was 2008. And ever since, like, the sport has just bloomed.
Easy.
Yeah, there's a lot of jiu-jitsu in San Diego, a lot of grappling, high-level Brazilians that compete out here, and then the striking. You know, I like to say I had a good part in it. You know, just really elevating that level of kickboxing and Muay Thai around San Diego, and then it's very competitive. I myself now is coaching, and I have over maybe 60 to 70 students that are actively fighting. So we got a big team.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does it still amaze you? Because aside from owning the company, you have a wellness center also in Kentucky. And Henry, I guess this is a question for both of you.
Sure.
Does it amaze you that a lot of the population doesn't realize they have access to this kind of treatment? Because a lot of people assume only high-level athletes like yourself or the NFL guys have access to this stuff.
Well, I would say it amazes me. It kind of pisses me off, I would say, more than anything, because, like, what happens is that people just think that they have no other options other than surgery or injections or drugs. And so, like, I'll be walking around, like, in this city where actually, I mean, we're one of the biggest PMF companies in the world. We're right in Louisville, Kentucky, and, like, my neighbors don't even know what it is. Like, it's so difficult. And they'll walk around and I'll be like, hey, Mr. Smith, I see you're limping. Would you like to come try this? And they're like, yeah, no, I've already tried everything. Da, da, da. And it's like, fine, suffer. I don't care, because it does feel like there are these options that are affordable, especially in Kentucky. I mean, we've made it like, we're not California. We're not New York. Like, we have to make this extremely affordable for people. And I'm trying to get people to just step out, because they say, well, if it was amazing, my doctor would know about it. And in reality, in the United States, that's not true. Like, a lot of times doctors, they are looking for billing, and I'm not saying anything bad about doctors because there's a lot of wonderful doctors, but they're looking at billing insurance and what insurance bills for. They're not looking at the latest and greatest stuff. They're looking at what can help them make money, because they own a business. And to do that business, they have to operate within the rules, and they also have to make money. And so, yes, are they taking care of you in the best way that they can to make money? Absolutely. But do they always understand all of the options? Does it behoove them to understand every single option out there? No, it doesn't, because financially they're not getting rewarded for that. So, like, what Henry's doing and what his whole outlook is exactly what we need more of.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and I look at this as pure opportunity. Just knowing that these aren't in medical clinics at all. So my business partner and I opened this facility up to show that to the general public. And then it's just been me just collaborating with many gyms, many athletes, just night and day. You'll see me at Lieben's gym till 8:30 at night sometimes, and I start here at 7:30 sometimes. So it's just pounding the pavement, getting those collaborations going. And now it's starting to come to fruition. I think, especially with social media, you're getting a bigger presence of everything and seeing, you're getting that. What is that? Just like what you
brand
experience.
awareness.
Yeah, it's brand awareness. And and even though we're here in La Jolla, we're not at La Jolla pricing.
Right.
If you look at our
absolutely.
singular prices and our unlimited monthly prices, it's very, very reasonable.
Well, and if you're going to pay that, like, a lot of people don't realize it. If you just regular everyday people, you're doing a lot of athletes, but regular everyday people think that, the pricing might be too much. Like, let's say it's $75, $100 a session, but you're going to spend thousands on a surgery that you have no guarantee is going to help you. But you're not willing to give $75 to try something that could absolutely help you. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to end up exactly where you are right now. Like, to me, that's where it's so frustrating. It's like you're not willing to try this, but in the end, like, you're willing to do something that could give you, they will look at you, you will sign a piece of paper and say, you might die, and you also might have zero, you might be worse or better or the same. And that to me is where it's kind of frustrating. Like, Google something. Like, look outside your comfort zone and don't just do one thing.
It's so true, though. Like you said with the doctors, people go into the doctor's office because you assume this is the only place I have help. This is the only place I'm going to get an option.
Get a second opinion.
Well, that's, you know, since you're a kid, that's what people tell you. We just drill to, you know, trust our doctor, right? Yeah. But just like you said, I mean, there's money behind, right? And so when money dictates this, they're not going to push that kind of product around. Even me, when I told him what I was doing on the side, and you know, he's not saying anything really, but
and he's not going to learn about it. He's like, whatever, I don't know what it is, and I don't care.
Exactly, but he's not pushing that. Right. He's not. Oh, but it's good for me, doctor. Like, I'm telling you, but he's not.
No interest.
Exactly, he's not making any money.
Because you don't go to him and say, hey, if you sign up for this, then you're going to make, and you start pushing it, you're going to make XXX dollars. All of a sudden, I guarantee that there would be, they'd be.
Of course.
And that's the problem. It's the United States and everywhere, but I think it's even more in the United States because outside of the United States, they can actually do other things without the regulatory and the regulations that the United States puts on people.
Like I've heard in Europe, like the hyperbaric chambers are much more accepted, and like there's less.
Oh, they're everywhere. I mean, in Holland, we go every year to Europe for like 4 to 6 weeks, and there's hyperbaric. There's places. I mean, in little bitty small towns, there's access to these things, and sometimes even the government-funded healthcare will they push you to do these things because the healthier you are, then the less money the government has to spend on your wellness. Exactly. So they want you to be thinner, they want you to be healthier, they want the food. Where in the United States, the sicker you are, the bigger you are, the worse you eat, the more money the government and these big businesses make. So it's the opposite of how it is almost everywhere else in the world. In Canada, Health Canada, if you're sick, that costs the whole government money. And so why would they want you to try and do anything that you can to be healthy, and that's not what we're doing in the United States.
All right, guys, well, that'll do it from right here at the Wellness Institute La Jolla. Rock, thank you so much for coming.
Appreciate you guys.
MagnaWave, AuraWell.
How
you feeling right now?
Excellent.
So what?
Second round?
Liver down. Let's do it again.
Re-rack the liver. Like, comment, subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time on the show. Bye.